The Norse twins, they just keep upping and upping their game. They've been playing their best beach volleyball right now. They're really on a roll.
Norse twins this year with a fantastic season, a record-setting season.
The sole reason why my sister and I play beach volleyball and why we plan on playing it for as long as we can is because we get to do it together. Ultimately, our passion for beach volleyball is rooted in our friendship.
Audrey Norse and Nicole Norse playing their best volleyball.
Everyone asks me if it's fun being a twin, and it is honestly the single greatest blessing in my life. I wouldn't change it for the world.
They're very intense competitors. They work very hard.
Most wins by a USC pair this season.
Audrey and Nicole Norse volleyball.
Really something special. They're on fire.
Such hard workers.
My sister and I are very much inseparable, and it's been like that ever since we were really, really young. We really only cared about being each other's best friends, and that's all that mattered. I honestly wouldn't want it any other way. She is the closest thing to me.
Audrey and I did everything together growing up. All of the sports, we were always on the same team. All of our classes, we were relatively in the same class.
We didn't have a huge friend group, but we kind of just like to stick together.
All we really needed was each other. I grew up playing basketball. Audrey grew up playing soccer. And in high school, I was still playing basketball and Audrey was still with soccer, but we weren't together. And ultimately, from a young age, we were inseparable. We were inseparable today, and we knew that the sport that we go into, we want to go into it together. So it was an easy choice to pick beach volleyball over those two sports for sure. It's honestly pretty fitting. We're from Southern California, we're beach girls, we grew up on the beach. I can't think of another sport that's also fitting to where we live, and it's pretty much the only sport where I would get to be with my twin. If it's anyone that I'm going to rely on, it's going to be Audrey.
I'm not going to want anyone else in the last moment, third match, must-win game. Like, she's the person I want to be with. We're the strongest of teammates and partners, but we're also each other's greatest competitors. Like, she is my greatest opponent that I would ever have. Just growing up playing against her, basketball, volleyball, soccer, just our life, like literally getting the front seat in the car. It comes down to the little things, but it has truly built us up to the competitors and athletes that we are today, and that's what I bank on.
When we were younger, we were pretty naive, and I don't think we knew what we were getting into in terms of being partners and siblings at the same time. I don't think we realized how, sometimes difficult the journey ended up being. When we first started playing together, it was very difficult. Many tournaments we left in tears. We would argue. Honestly, when we were 12 and under, I couldn't remember a tournament where we didn't leave the beach crying because we were so mean to each other. It really did take a lot of maturing and just growing up a little and letting things go, because we do push each other a lot, and sometimes we do expect perfection from each other. Just being siblings, we feel that it's much more easy to tell your sibling what to do than to tell your friend what to do. And so we just had to mature a lot along the way. Could not have done it without the help of a lot of mentors in our life, coaches, sports psych, my parents, just everyone helping us along the way. Because the road is never easy and you can never do it alone, and we definitely realized that. Those moments are what allowed us to grow and mature. And we wouldn't be where we are today in terms of our relationship if we didn't figure out how to deal with argument, how to deal with tension, and how to ultimately play together as sisters.
People will ask us, how do you play with a sibling? Because we know what's good to say, we know what's bad to say. And we've come up with this thing where it's like, clearly we could keep arguing all day, or we could just stop it right now. I'll look at her and I'll be like, all right, truce, we're done. Yeah, literally done. It just ends, and then we move on. It's just finding little cues like that, little triggers, even just taking a deep breath and just knowing like, all right, we got this, just reset.
In it goes, and up goes another point for USC.
One thing that I never quite realized before going to USC was how important the mental side of sports is. It was a slap in the face when I first got to SC because every time that you step on the court, you have to be performing at your best. Sometimes mentally that can be a toll. With my sister and I, not only did individually we have to be our best, but chemistry-wise, we had to be flowing. And so when things get off, mentally, it has an impact on whether we are able to perform together. When we play, we get super intense and we feed off each other's energy. I feel like my brain's moving at 100 miles an hour and it's hard to slow things down. One thing that I've focused more on in the past year is my mental preparation. Obviously the physical preparation is there because you're training, but I've tapped into more what can I do mentally. Really putting an emphasis on that mental toughness, that mental calmness. We were able to level our emotions a bit more, which it helped us in the long run. It helped us ultimately get the results that we wanted.
It'll be Nicole Norris. Pokes into the back row. USC put a point on the board.
Right-hand pokey by Nicole Norris, and I'll tell you, these two are really happy.
Well, this tournament has been great for the Norris twins. They are 3-0 in their matches in Gulf Shores this week.
Something that Audrey and I do as a team is we put ourselves in the situation before it happens. For example, as a part of our mental preparation for the season, I wrote down Natty Champs and I wrote it down on my wall and I looked at it every single day because I wanted to put myself in that moment. I wanted to see myself with my team winning a national championship. Actually doing it, I got to live that moment and it was just amazing. It was a feeling that I've never felt before in my life. When you're young as an athlete, the wins and the losses, sometimes they hit a lot harder. We've learned to not define ourselves by any stat, by any record, by any win or loss. We are student athletes, but the athlete side, that's not where we get our worth from. We get our worth from our faith. And when we play, we set to glorify God. Whatever it is that you believe in, it doesn't really matter. I think the important thing that we've come to learn is that you don't have to value yourself by the results that you get. I would say it's not only easy to get caught up in the results-driven nature of beach volleyball and sports, but it's easy to get caught up in the results-driven behavior of myself and my sister. I mean, we've always been very results-driven, and that's one thing, with working on the mental side of our game, we've had to take emphasis and the reward we feel from earning a certain result and sort of move it to the reward we feel from just being present and being in the moment. At the end of the day, just being able to play is enough, and it's a privilege to be out there and to be able to be active. A win or a loss, it doesn't value you. It's more about what you do to get there and putting yourself in the best position possible to succeed. And sometimes you don't get the results you want, and sometimes you do, and it's amazing. But either way, at the end of the day, it's just being grateful that you're able to even do the sport in the first place. Post-college, Audrey and I want to play professional beach volleyball together. The Olympics is the ultimate goal, and it has always been for both my sister and I. It's going to be really difficult. We know that. We know that statistically, perhaps even the odds are against us, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to try and see what we can do. Honestly, that's the pinnacle. It's honestly really, really helpful to have a twin because we are able to sort of keep a balance of emotions just by feeding off of each other and knowing how to communicate to one another.
Even though we are individuals and we take on life, just as individuals, we really help each other. And I think that everything that we've accomplished, it shows that. So it's kind of just a teamwork thing that we've got going on.
When I'm playing with my sister, I'm the happiest. It brings me so much joy, and it makes every practice, every training, every lift, it makes everything worthwhile, and all the hard work, all the grit, all the sacrifice that we give. I know that at the end of the day, I get to be next to my sister through it all, so it's something that I cherish.